Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Stapp, the Executive Director of W.P. Carey's Master in Real Estate Development Program, the Freddie Taylor Professor of Real Estate, and Director of the Center for Real Estate Theory and Practice. I'm proud to welcome you to another terrific season of ECP, the premier business speaker series in the Valley. Similar to last season, we're meeting over Zoom today. We've decided to host all ECP events virtually for this semester to maintain one of the key benefits it enables, which is our ability to welcome alumni and guests from across the country and globe who could not typically make it to a luncheon in Phoenix. If this is your first time joining us at Economic Club of Phoenix, welcome. We're happy you're here. And to our longtime friends and supporters, thank you for your support as we continue to navigate what is the best option in the current climate. A couple of routine housekeeping items before we get started. First, all attendees are muted and have video disabled for the remainder of this session. If you have either a technology question or a question for our keynote speaker, please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom window. We will save questions until the end of the session, but you can submit your questions using the Q&A feature at any time at your leisure throughout the discussion. Some exciting news to share before we jump into our conversation. We entered the fall semester here at W.P. Carey last week, and we kicked off classes and welcomed about 4,300 undergraduate students and almost 900 graduate students to W.P. Carey. In total, there are around 19,000 students enrolled at our school this fall, showcasing that W.P. Carey is a premier destination for business education that is both excellent and accessible. Now, to our special guests today. I am honored and excited to be moderating this discussion with W.P. Carey School of Business new Dean, Ohad Kadan. Ohad is also the W.P. Carey Distinguished Chair in Business and a Professor of Finance. He is an award-winning researcher and educator. His research covers different aspects of liquidity, information, risk, and incentives in financial markets. His papers have been published in top economic journals such as Econometrica, the Journal of Finance, the Review of Financial Studies, the Journal of Financial Economics, Management Science, and the Journal of Accounting and Economics. Prior to joining ASU, he spent 20 years at Washington University in St. Louis in both faculty and leadership positions, spearheading the introduction of innovative programs with an emphasis on values, data, global orientation, and multidisciplinary collaboration. Ohad holds a PhD from Hebrew University in Jerusalem. Ohad, thank you for joining us today. Our format is going to be a little different. Instead of a formal presentation from Dean Kadan, we're going to have a quote-unquote fireside chat. So we're going to jump straight into questions. As mentioned earlier, feel free to start entering your questions for Ohad in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen at any time. We'll get to as many of those as we possibly can at the end. So, Ohad, let's start with a little bit about you, Ohad the person. Can you share a little bit about your background and what attracted you to joining ASU and W.P. Carey?
Thank you, Mark, for the kind introduction. I'm delighted to be here and be part of the Phoenix Economic Club of Phoenix community, W.P. Carey community, and the ASU community. This is really exciting. I'll share a little bit of background about myself. First, I grew up in Israel, did my PhD at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. I studied finance. After my PhD, I joined Washington University in St. Louis, where I spent the last 20 years. Started as an assistant professor and then rose through the ranks to a full professor, a chat professor, And then also started to do some administrative work, initially as the chair of the finance department, then as associate dean, vice dean, and then recently I was approached to explore this position, and I'm finding myself sitting here in Tempe on this chair, very excited. In terms of what attracted me to join WP Carey, many issues attracted me. So I'll start with the city of Phoenix. Phoenix is a growing city, it's a thriving city. The economy is growing and attracting individuals and corporations. I think it's a great opportunity for the university, a great opportunity for the business school. Business schools thrive when the cities and businesses around them thrive. And so the city itself is a great opportunity for WP Carey and ASU. Second, ASU is, in fact, the largest business school in the nation, but it's also one of the highest ranked business schools in the nation. So this combination of a large business school, which is also very highly ranked, highly successful, is very attractive. Amazing students, outstanding faculty and staff, great programs, very innovative. And so the opportunity to join this great business school and make it hopefully even greater, I felt is very enticing. The innovation culture here at ASU is also very attractive to me. And beyond that, the ASU charter that talks about inclusiveness, the advancing knowledge that contributes to our society, and taking responsibility for our community, I felt very related to this ASU charter, and I wanted to contribute to it. So I believe that ASU is ahead of the game in terms of higher education these days, and the opportunity to be part of this leadership in a leadership position is been very attractive to me. All of these together have attracted me to join WP Carey and ASU.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good jumping off point. Although you officially started as the dean on July 1st, you were hard at work before that for several months now, and working on guiding the school through a strategic planning process, including developing a new vision and mission statements for the school. Can you tell us a little bit about that process and where you are in that process?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we are toward the end of our strategic planning process. We started it right after I was named as dean under my guidance where I convened the leadership of the school and created what we call the strategic planning steering committee, which oversaw the process. And in this process, we have looked very carefully at each and every unit of the school and at the school as a whole, and tried to understand what are the opportunities, what are the strengths, but also what are the weaknesses that we are facing. And then coming up with ideas on how to address the weaknesses, how to exploit and take advantage of the many opportunities that are in front of us. And we have not done this just within the committee. We have reached out to all of our faculty, our staff members, our students, our alums, the business community, just as I'm doing right now, and asked for their feedback, and have been collecting this feedback for several months now. And we have been introducing this feedback and using it to improve our planning. Part of that process was to redefine or kind of, I would say, reassess our vision as a school. And what we have done is we have basically taken the ASU charter of being inclusive, advancing knowledge that impacts society, and taking responsibility for our community. We have taken the ASU charter and we converted it or reinterpreted it as what does it mean for a business school, which led us to articulate the following vision, that we are trying to transform the world through access, excellence, innovation in business knowledge. So access, we believe that education opens doors, it creates opportunities, it changes lives. And so we are here at ASU at WP Carey to provide access to business education. But it's not just any business education. It is outstanding, excellent business education. So we are committed to access and excellence. We are marrying the two concepts. And finally, it is innovation, which is what allows us to marry access and excellence together, something that very few other schools, if any, are able to do. And we are doing all of that while maintaining our culture of business is personal, and which this is our vision. And also it translates to our mission of it, which is what is that we do? We only do at WP Carey three things. We educate, that's our teaching mission. We create knowledge, that's our research mission. And we engage. Engagement is very important. So business schools do not live on an island. So we believe that we need to be engaged with the community, we engage with businesses, engage with the government, engage with the rest of the university. So education, research, and engagement.
So interesting. It can be really difficult to have both access and excellence. I mean, usually you get one right, or you get one that you're focused on, but to have them side by side, can you tell us a little bit more about how you plan to approach achieving that?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Most schools do either access or excellence, but not both. And the reason is that it's very demanding on resources. So if you focus on excellence, for example, like say the Harvards of the world, you're saying, okay, I'm excluding all of these students. They cannot be part of our school, but we'll just focus on the top, say 1 or 2%. Alternatively, some schools say, okay, we'll just take everybody, but then their faculty cannot really pursue research and advanced knowledge, and the level in the classroom is not necessarily very high. We are trying to marry the two concepts, to do both, which is very demanding. So I'm often asked that question, how can you do both, given that you need to spend so many resources to do both? And the answer is that, just to give you an example, we offer a menu of programs. Take our undergraduate program. We have more than 30 different majors and programs within our undergraduate program. This means that we can take a variety of students, a spectrum of students, and say, even if you're not really good at calculus, you may be a really good entrepreneur, and you don't need calculus. So I will place you in a program that does not require calculus, but will prepare you for a career in entrepreneurship. We also have very advanced and technical programs. We have honors programs. So basically we have a spectrum of programs in a way that we can accommodate a variety of students, all of whom will succeed and will be excellent. You have mentioned that we have more than 19,000 students here at WP Carey. It's a large number of students. More than 18,000 of them are undergraduate students. At the same time, we have 31 of our programs ranked within the top 25 by US News. So it's just not just me saying we are excellent. We are evidently excellent as ranked by US News. So we are able to do both, and that's what's unique about us, about ASU, about WP Carey.
Yeah, and as a faculty member, I appreciate the fact that we're trying to achieve both, and that sounds great. Based on that, can you share some of the initiatives that the school is prioritizing? So you mentioned a lot of different things, but what are you prioritizing?
So indeed, in our strategic plan that is being finalized these days, we are highlighting several initiatives. I just mentioned a few. First, we would like to grow executive education, continuing education, and lifelong learning. That's a major initiative which is related to their engagement mission. Remember, we engage with businesses, with communities. So how do you do that? You educate beyond just degree programs. It means executive education, continuing education, lifelong learning. So we are with you throughout your career. The fact that the student graduated, you become an alum, or not even an alum, just a professional, does not mean that you need to stop learning. We are with you to continue your learning journey. We have appointed Raghu Santanam, Senior Associate Dean for Lifelong Learning, Executive Education, and Continuing Education, and Corporate Partnership. Long title, because he's overseeing that big initiative of engaging with the community. We are, in fact, looking not only at executive education, but also at upskilling individuals to reach their full earning potential through certificates and credentials that may accumulate, stack into degrees. So the idea that you need to spend 4 years on campus in order to get a degree is an old idea. Some individuals just cannot afford that. We are launching certificates and credential that will allow individuals to get into a degree, but doing it gradually through certificates. We are also looking into growing our faculty talent. In fact, just during the last spring, under my guidance, and even before I started my position, WP hired 44 new faculty, of which 34 are full-time and 10 are postdocs. We are working hard on growing our graduate programs, both in terms of quality and size. We have a very large undergraduate programs, but we need to be also very successful in growing on our graduate programs. We have major focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion in terms of diversifying our student body, our faculty body, our staff, but also in terms of infusing D&I into our curriculum, in our research. And finally, I should mention ESG, environment, society, and governance. These are major topics, important topics that are everywhere in the business community right now. If you are in business, we are likely talking about ESG. As a business school, we need to lead the charge on that. We need to understand what ESG means. We need to teach it. We need to develop knowledge around this. And that's a major initiative for WP Carey for our strategic plan.
Yeah, thank you for that. So these programs, they're amazing opportunities, I think, for all of us associated with the school, but also for the community itself. So you had mentioned one of the reasons you wanted to come here was because we're a growing, vibrant community. How do these fit into the landscape of Arizona in particular, do you think?
That's a great question. So we are actually very intentional in our approach in supporting Arizona and the needs of Arizona, business community and the population in general. So let's start with numbers. Fewer than 50% of high school graduates in Arizona end up going to college. That's relatively low compared to other states. So our access mission, the fact that we open our doors and increase the size of our undergraduate programs, is a way to address that. Access to education is critical for Arizona in order to get to where we need to be from an economic standpoint. In addition, our certificates approach to education caters to Arizona's need for skilled workforce. In fact, we have launched the AZ Next program, which is headed by Raghu Santanam, again, our Senior Associate Dean. And this one is basically a model for upskilling individuals to help them obtain high-paying jobs, especially focused on underrepresented populations. So overall, we are very attentive to the needs of Arizonians. But I should say we are also catering to students from other states. In fact, only 40% of our undergraduate student body is from Arizona. So 60% are coming from other states. Many of them come from California, but more than 5% are international students. We are here to deliver on access, excellence, and innovation.
Yeah, thank you. You know, an area that obviously I'm particularly interested in, so this is a little bit of selfless self-promotion here, is to ask you about one of the priorities, which is real estate. Can we talk just a little bit about your goals for that in particular, and you know, maybe other places? We're a laboratory for real estate.
Yeah, so I'm almost tempted to return the question to you, Mark. But I'll still try to answer and see, you tell me if I'm doing a good job, okay? So we have a fantastic real estate program already. We have an undergraduate minor. We have the MRED program, the Master of Real Estate Development program, which you oversee. And we have a real estate center. We have a real estate board, very strong interest from the community. We have a real estate council. So we have all the tools to become a nationally renowned real estate school. So we just need to take a few more steps to support this program and to enrich it further, to hire some more faculty, and to get it to where it needs to be, which is to be a top real estate program nationally. I would also mention that we are focused not only on real estate, there are other industries that are a major focus for us. I'll mention two. One is the healthcare sector. We are very interested in that sector, particularly in educating peers in that sector. I should mention our partnership with Mayo Clinic is one of the initiatives, but we have more partnerships with others. And also the semiconductor sector, microelectronics. This is a major sector here in the Valley, and we are working hard to improve our presence in that sector, and mainly to train leaders, individuals for leadership positions around supply chain issues, data analytics, and others.
Yeah, thank you for that. I would like to add that we have a real estate council event on November 1st, where you're going to talk more specifically about real estate opportunities and initiatives, and all of those that are in attendance today will get an invitation to that as well. So, thanks for expanding on that a little bit. But as my final question, Ohad, for you, before we jump into questions, can you share a little bit more about how this particular community can get involved with the strategic plan and the process of many of the initiatives of the school? You had mentioned the strategic plan. You mentioned that it's not done yet. How can those who are listening and others engage in that process?
Thanks. So indeed, this is an ongoing process. We are not done yet. We are reaching out to all of our stakeholders. We have reached out to students, faculty, alums, but we need your feedback. Everybody on this call, we would appreciate your feedback. So we have a website that we launched, wpcarey.asu.edu/strategic planning. Let me say it again, wpcarey.asu.edu/strategic planning. And in this website, you can get some more details on our strategic planning. And it includes a form that will allow you to leave some feedback to us. And I personally am looking at this form and the feedback from this form and reaching out to those who leave me any feedback in order to just to discuss. So please do reach out to us. I should also say that we have a variety of alumni events, both here in town and around the nation. We are launching some activities. So if you are here, please join our alumni events in Phoenix. In particular, I would like to mention the Hall of Fame event that is upcoming in November around the homecoming, and just get engaged with us.
Yeah, that's great. And I think we can put up on the screen a little bit later the link that you were talking about, so people can engage and not have to worry about having written it down correctly. So can we move on to some of the questions that have come in from the audience? So here's a couple of them, Ohad. What approach do you plan to take to engage the Phoenix business community, including fireside chats like this, which professional certification organizations are important, and what industries are you most interested in? It's kind of a multi-part question there.
Yeah. So engagement with the business community is key. It is stated very clearly in our mission statement. As I said, we are teaching our students. We are developing and creating knowledge through our research when we engage. Engagement is very important. And we have created a unit led by Raghu Santanam, which is all about engaging with the business community and the community at large. So he and his team has been reaching out to corporations, to nonprofits, and to others in order to create and develop these relationships. So if you are here, whoever is asking this question would like to engage with us, please reach out to me personally or to Raghu, and we are going to work with you. So we are interested in developing your knowledge, the knowledge of your employees. We are in the talent development business, basically. Our product is people. That's what we do. And we are doing this for our students, but we are there also to help you, the businesses around us, to thrive. I believe that business schools thrive only if businesses around them thrive. It is a symbiotic relationship between the businesses and the business school. It's a two-way street. So
the other,
in terms of industries, let me just answer that we are open, we are engaging with all industries. I mentioned three: real estate, healthcare, and semiconductors is kind of a big one around us. But we have engaged with the banking industry, we have engaged with other industries. We are engaging with anyone around us and looking forward to working with you.
So here's a question for you as I'm looking at this. This is really specific, okay? So what is the best way you suggest startup / pre-revenue companies raise capital?
Okay, so I'm not sure I'm the expert on that, but here is one thing that it's very hard, of course, right? So startups, and I never launched a startup myself, but I would say my only advice is never take no for an answer. So I gave an example to the MBA students just this week and told them the story of how I got my first job as a professor. I applied to 70 schools after my PhD, to 70 schools, and got declined from 68 of them. Okay, so I got 68 no's and 2 yeses. I chose one of the yeses. You need to work really hard and to be willing to get rejection. Rejections are part of the game in business. And just continue to move forward. If you have a great idea, keep voicing what you have to say, keep presenting your ideas, and I believe that the money will come. But there is no easy way in doing that. It is just to move forward. It is very, very hard and challenging.
So now I want to know who the other yes was from. We know Wash U was one of them.
Yeah, it's a school in Europe, which I want to mention. That's the only 2 offers I got. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is hard. It requires incredible perseverance.
No, you just check it out and then move forward. That's it. And then I think that's my advice. You are missing all the shots that you don't take, 100% of them. So just keep taking your shots.
Yeah. So here's another question about ESG. The emphasis on ESG in the business world is obviously become in the forefront of all business activities. And for example, recently proposed SEC regulations or emphasizes, is WP Carey considering crossover opportunities or integrations with the School of Sustainability or any of the other schools that relate to this?
Definitely, and we are already working on certificates with the School of Sustainability. Ragur is hard at work on that with our faculty. Definitely, there are collaborations there being formed between WP Carey, the School of Sustainability, and other schools here at the university. We have a lot of talent, not just at the business school, and we are going to use and partner with all of that talent.
Good. Again, some of these are very specific about either issues that are in the news right now or questions regarding things that you said. But here's another one that's very specific. Do you have a sense of what the CHIPS Act means for ASU and the local economy?
Yeah, so it is mostly about our School of Engineering, but definitely there is a lot of money to be invested in semiconductors, microelectronics, and this money invested by the government may come here to this university. It really depends. That's not been decided. Our School of Engineering has been a major partner in forming the CHIPS Act and influencing, lobbying for its approval. Whether the money, the support will come here to Arizona is still to be determined. But definitely our School of Engineering is working very hard to try and get at least some of the money to be invested in Arizona, in particular in ASU.
Yeah, you need to look at Taiwan Semiconductor and what Intel is doing and all of the associated businesses with that as well. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, Intel is investing $20 billion here in the Valley. Taiwan Semiconductor is investing $12 billion here in the Valley, all in semiconductor fabs. But the government is also, the federal government will be investing and supporting these activities. The question is how this money is going to be allocated, still to be determined.
Yeah. Another question, the Penn-Wharton budget model predicts that Inflation Reduction Act will reduce inflation by 0.1% by mid-decade. Your opinion?
Well, I don't know. There is a huge debate about that, about whether that will happen. The Inflation Reduction Act is maybe about inflation, but it's also about many other things and different investments. There is a difference in opinions about these government investments. I don't want to voice my opinion necessarily here. Much of that is invested in initiatives around sustainability and climate change. I think given what ASU is and how many schools here are focused on ESG, hopefully some of this money will get here. Some of this money will be invested in research through the NSF and other agencies, and hopefully some of this money will be provided to ASU schools. Within that, I know WP Carey, with our focus on ESG, is looking forward to apply for some grants in this space.
Yeah, so let me just expand on that a little bit with another initiative, Ohad, that we have underway. It relates to some things that I've been working on, which is diversity and the importance of that in business today as well. You know, how do you see diversity as a critical item for industry and for business in general?
Yeah, let me start by talking about diversity here at the school. About 1/3 of our undergraduate student body are coming from underrepresented populations. 38% of our MBA students are reporting themselves as underrepresented minorities. These are significant numbers. So WP Carey is a diverse school in terms of our student population. In terms of a faculty, we are not as diverse. 28% of our faculty are women, which is, last I checked, less than 50%. So we still have a lot of work to do in terms of diversifying our faculty. In terms of minorities in our faculty, we are not where we need to be. We are somewhat better within our staff. So a lot of work on the diversity side, especially for faculty. But even if we are able to diversify our faculty body, we are not done. The reason is that we are a school, and in a school, to really embrace D&I, you need to infuse it also into our curriculum. So we have a lot of work to do in order to make sure that D&I is in our curriculum. It is in what we teach and also in the knowledge that we create in our research. And that's something that we emphasize in our strategic plan. And I just recently appointed Professor Jeffrey Wilson as Associate Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And he will lead that effort along with our chairs and directors and the school leadership as a major initiative in a school, making sure that D&I is not only in the numbers of students, faculty, and staff, but also in what we teach and the knowledge that we create. Now, more generally, D&I is everywhere in businesses. So I'm talking to businesses as part of our engagement, and everybody is aware of that. Everybody is aware on the need to diversify our workforce, the need to bring to empower women, to empower underrepresented minorities within the workforce. And in fact, some employers with whom I met recently are looking to us basically as being as we are, as an excellent as our student body is, and as diverse as it is, they are looking to hire our students in order to diversify their workforce. So I believe here again around ESG, there is a room for partnership between us, Arizona State, WP Carey Business School, and businesses. We are here, we have an excellent student body. It's very diverse. Hire our students, hire our students.
Yeah, thank you for that. There's a question regarding geopolitical relationships with China and how those have declined over the last couple of years and its impact on our recruiting, and have increased political conflicts reduced international recruiting for our student body?
First, regarding China, we have very successful programs in China. We have our executive MBA in Shanghai, which is ranked 9th in the world by Financial Times, top 10 in the world. We have our Master in Management in Shanghai, and we have a Doctor of Business Administration, DBA, it's a doctoral degree for executives in Shanghai. So we have very good relationships with partners in China. And these programs are very important for us. More generally, agreed, the relationship between the US and China are kind of rocky. That probably has affected, has some implications, economic implications in terms of applications. From what I've seen in my previous employer, the Washington University, we didn't see a decline in the number of applications from China. It is not the geopolitical issues are not reflected in the number of students applying. Here at Arizona State University, Carey, I'm seeing somewhat of a decline, but given what I've seen at WashU, I'm not sure whether this is specific to us as a school, and I'm still working on that. We are trying to understand whether we can actually ramp up applications from China. We have very strong students from Asia in general. We want to encourage them to apply and come here and take our education, join us, especially for our graduate programs, but also for our undergraduate programs.
Thanks for that, Ohad. So here's another very specific question. Is there any emphasis at WP Carey on the mining industry? I mean, that mining was a big part of our economy, our 5 C's of Arizona. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but it was a big part of who we were as a place and a part of our economy, and still is. Do we have a particular emphasis on any aspect in the mining industry?
Not that I'm aware of. This is the first time I'm hearing, but I'm a newcomer, right, to Arizona and to Phoenix, so I'd never heard about this, and nobody on the team suggested that we focus on this industry, but I'm open to ideas. So you may want to reach out to me, whoever mentioned this. Do we have a name?
We don't have a name, but we certainly can get a name. And also equally important is we have provided access to the strategic planning process. And it may be that that's the place to make some of those thoughts known and comments.
Yeah, happy to learn about this and what could be done in that space.
Yeah, I mean, certainly mining for rare metals as it relates to energy and national security has become a big issue. I'm not aware of any other initiatives in the school either. So we're looking to increase local student enrollment at ASU. Will there be any additional scholarships available to students that are part of our target in terms of DEI via merit or needs-based that you're aware of?
We are working very, very hard on that aspect. Through philanthropic efforts, we are trying to raise as much money as we can to support scholarships for students in need, for underrepresented minorities. Definitely, it's a major effort. We understand that the cost of education is significant, even in a state school. And we are doing everything in our power to support the students in need. That definitely is the case. I should say that we are also expanding our offering beyond the Tempe campus. We are all going to offer more programs on the West Campus, on the west side of the valley, and on the Poly campus, on the east side of the valley. And the idea is, again, to bring education to where it is needed, to the communities where it is needed, to cut down the need for travel, for commuting, and basically to bring education closer to the communities where education is needed.
So I'm going to throw something else at you that I thought of. You and I were chatting last week, and you were in Los Angeles at the new facility that we have in downtown Los Angeles, and we have a facility in DC that we've had for a couple of years. ASU recruits significant numbers of students from Southern California. We have I think, a big initiative to look at how we expand what we provide to Californians. How do you see us as a school using those facilities, both the one in Los Angeles and the one in DC, to bring education to some of the students that are not here?
So far, we are using these facilities, especially for students who are here. We're just taking them to either DC or to LA. So for example, we are using the facility in DC for our executive MBA students, where they're traveling to DC to learn about government, for example. The campus in LA, as of now, could be used for short-term residencies or to launch programs for international students. And we are looking into that. However, you are absolutely right that we are here not only to serve students from Arizona, but students from all around the nation. And California is our big neighbor on the west. Yeah. And the education system in California is such that if you are not really a top students, top 2 or 5% students, it is very hard to get into the UC system. And so ASU, in particular, WP Carey, are standing here to get outstanding students from California and to provide them with a great business education. Just to give you an idea, if you're looking to start in a business school in California for an undergraduate degree, you need to go basically to either UC Berkeley or to USC, University of Southern California. UC Berkeley, you need to be something like a 2 percentile student. And to go to USC, you need to pay around $80K per year. Mm-hmm. And also very hard to get. What about the 98% of those business school goers who cannot go to a UC system school? Well, we are offering a very high quality alternative. And indeed, we get many applications from California, but we want to get more. These are outstanding students, and we want to get more of them.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, if anybody has gone to Los Angeles to see that facility, it's amazing. It's a really, really beautiful building.
Yeah, indeed. It's the Herald Examiner building. It used to be a facility for a newspaper, a major newspaper in LA, and it was completely renovated by ASU. It is really an outstanding facility, and we are going to make a significant use of it.
Yeah, good example of adaptive reuse and historic preservation. So here's another question for you. This is a long one. Successfully continuing the school's path of innovation and making a business education at ASU even more relevant to the future will probably require a healthy amount of outside thinking. Friends, finding, curating great ideas from those outside the school, including industry, government, and elsewhere in education. What resources and techniques do you think should be more fully tapped in order to amplify WP Carey's use of outside thinking?
Well, that's part of our engagement approach. We are constantly reaching out to outsiders, including right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm reaching out to you, our friends and alums from the business community, and asking you to advise me on what I should be doing better. What am I doing well? What am I doing? What should I be doing better? This website that I just mentioned is an opportunity for you to leave feedback, but also feel free to reach out directly to me if you have an idea. In our strategic planning process, we engaged our students, our alums, our faculty and staff, and the business community. Reach out directly to our major employers and ask them, what do you need from us? Through surveys and through direct interaction. And so I agree, I need all hands on deck in this effort of making WP Carey the great school that it already is, but it even better as it should be in the next 5 years. And so if you have an idea, if you have any comment, you have any feedback from me, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email is public, and the website that I mentioned includes a form that I just look at periodically.
Right. Yeah, I know that you have spent a lot of time in the strategic planning process, have engaged the faculty and others. This input from the public, I know, is very important to you, to the process, and to the school itself. So seems to me to be the best place to provide some of those thoughts. I don't see any other questions, Ohad. We're a little bit early, but that's okay. We've moved through the question and answer period pretty quickly, but I think we got to everybody's questions for the most part. Once again, please join me in thanking Dean Kadan for his incredible and impressive insights as our keynote presenter. It's definitely exciting to hear the plans for the business school and education at WP Carey. I know as a faculty member, I'm impressed with what you've been doing. We're excited you're here. We have a big future ahead of us. So thank you for taking time, because having now shared with us what you did, we know you're really busy, and you've only been here, what, a month and a half? So welcome. And we look forward to hearing more about what plans you have for the school. If you're interested in learning more about the strategic planning process that we've been talking about, or sharing your feedback, the link to that, I'm told that information will be shared via a separate email in the next coming days. And thank you to everyone for joining us. Please mark your calendars for the next ECP virtual event. We're featuring Xavier Gutierrez, the Arizona Coyotes, of the Arizona Coyotes, and the first Latino president and CEO of the National Hockey League. The webinar will take place on Tuesday, September 27th via Zoom. We encourage you to join us. The registration for these events, as well as the remaining events for this semester, can be found on the ECP webpage. Thank you again for attending today's session. You helped make ECP the premier business speaker series in the Valley, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day.